one of the greatest forces in human nature is intention. Your intention is connected in the most intimate way to your physical, emotional, and mental health. And it also greatly affects your financial well-being. Most people don't realize and don't use the power of intention. Yet remarkable scientific discoveries have demonstrated that intentions are so powerful they can change material things. And today my amazing guest expert, who is a medical doctor and recognized leader in integrative medicine, will share with us great tips on how using the power of intention can help change your life in many different ways. Grow your wealth, live on your terms. Hello, powerful people. Welcome to the More Money with Millen, a show that is kind of operating manual for creating your best rich life. I'm Millen Lewis, the host of the show and holistic financial independence mentor. I work with people who struggle with money worries and living paycheck to paycheck and want to develop a better relationship with money, discover how to manage money intentionally and invest it strategically so that they can have more money with less stress and less risk. Sadly, over 63% of Americans right now living paycheck to paycheck, and more than half of them are making six figures a year or more. Look, I was the least likely person to become financially independent. I was divorced, depressed, financially broke, and physically broken after a crazy car accident. I was literally living the money drama, yet managed to turn my life around. And you can too. If you're eager to fix the problems that cause your money problems, you can receive my How to Control Your Money So Money Will Not Control You guide for free today. So here's the link that you can use to download this guide. All right. Okay, so now let's talk about amazing way that you can create what you want to create in life using intention and so much more. So welcome, Dr. Nisha. I am so excited to have you with us today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hey, Millen, good morning to you from California, where the heavens have just opened and are pouring down the wealth onto planet Earth. We're going to have a bumper crop of flowers, fruits, and vegetables, so watch out. And I want to say something, Millen. By the way, I'm so delighted to be with you here. It's 7 a.m. in California, and I had my mother asked me, why would anyone want to talk to you at 7 a.m.? Are you nuts? And I have to say, this is the first time that I've actually had a conversation at 7 a.m. Usually it's in the evening. But I realized something, Millen. There's an old saying, early to bed, early to rise makes a woman healthy, wealthy, and wise. So this is the perfect time. Yes, we are so, I'm so delighted to be with you, and thank you for hosting me. And yes, well,
I want to introduce you officially because you're such an accomplished doctor and a woman. And I'm honored to have you as my guest expert today. And I want people to know that a little bit who you are and why they better listen to what you're saying. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Nisha Manek is an internationally recognized leader in integrative medicine. She's a fellow of the American College of Physicians and the Royal College of Physicians in the United Kingdom. Dr. Nisha moderated His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama visit to the Mayo Clinic in 2008. In her commitment to innovative approaches to health, Dr. Manek seeks to unify her work as a medical doctor with spiritual practices. In her best-selling book, Bridging Science and Spirit, Dr. Nisha Manek presents scientific evidence that human consciousness has the power to change the world. And because you're such a delightful and fun person to be around, I just want to mention a couple of things about you on a personal level. You were born in Kenya. You are an avid reader, and every time I talk to you, it's apparent to me. You are vegetarian cook and also meditator. So welcome. Delighted to have you with me.
Oh, Millen, thank you so much. You're very generous. I wish my mother had heard all that. Honestly, 7 a.m. and wow. Well, thank you very much. So you're right. I've had a very conventional education in medicine from the University of Glasgow in Scotland, training in London in internal medicine. I did my fellowship in Stanford University in rheumatology, and then went on to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, where I spent much of my academic career. I'm a rheumatologist, so that already tells you I deal with people with chronic diseases, arthritis, lupus, fibromyalgia, gout, osteoarthritis. And we're talking about health and wealth. So let me paint you a picture of what I was witnessing in the 1990s, 2000, until I realized we got to do something here. And that is, when we think about health, health is vitality. It is the body's health, right? We say, okay, I can get up, I can move, I can make my coffee. I had a perfect cup of Kenyan coffee this morning, and I'm ready for you. So we look at medicine as the body. But you and I can agree that is completely incomplete picture. You,
Totally.
Millen, are multidimensional.
Absolutely.
Nisha is multidimensional. But here I am in the top-notch places in the world, Stanford, Mayo, and here I have patients, young, all ages. I had children all the way to the older ages who are in pain, cannot function, and they're draining wealth. Think of the cost of a doctor visit, of insurance, of medicines, of lab testing, side effects, on and on it goes. And I'll tell you this, when you look at the biggest cost in drain of wealth in America, I'll just give you US statistics. Arthritis is the leading cause of disability. Look at the work hours that are lost every year. Okay, so I have young people who cannot go to work. They're on disability. Billions of dollars are just drained from the coffers of every household. Leading cause. So let's just think about that for a moment. So here I am in the biggest centers in the world. And what are we doing? We give more drugs. What's the newest pipeline? More drugs. What's the newest thing? More drugs at a very steep cost. So, here I am, and I thought, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way, because if you and I can agree that we are multidimensional, how do we bring those other aspects into healthcare? Because at the bedside, I'm asking, what's your pain level today? Did you get a side effect from steroids or methotrexate, which is a kind of chemical that we use to control the immune system? In essence, Millen, what I was doing every day was trying to control inflammation. Inflammation, okay? And if you really think about it, inflammation is what is underlying every modern ailment, every modern malady, right? Heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis and a fracture, cataracts, wrinkles on the skin, gray hair, inflammation. And by the time in rheumatology, when we are testing the patient, when we're testing, and the sedimentation rate or C-reactive protein is high, it's too late. It's too late. Inflammation is often hidden and silent. So the first thing I want your listeners to become aware of. If you're having a little fatigue, if you're feeling a little depleted by the afternoon and you're reaching for that coffee and espresso and Red Bull, stop and think about this. Just stop and say, what's going on? Become aware of just the energy sources and what you're doing. How is the body feeling? Where is the mind? Is it sharp? Is it making decisions spontaneously? So I realized that in arthritis care, fatigue, brain fog, loss of joint function were rampant, and putting them on more chemicals wasn't the answer. And I did the most extraordinary thing. And this is, when people say rags to riches, I did the opposite. I went from riches, the big, on my way to professorship and paychecks and accolades and certificates
Amazing.
all over, and left it and went into the
Amazing.
unknown. I went into the unknown, Millen. I left the system that I knew and educated in and left into the unknown with that funding. I had no money. I had no, this is what you're going to do, A, B, C, and then you're going to get a certificate. No. All I knew is I stumbled into one thing, which is William Tiller's physics. And I stumbled into it quite by accident. I knew that in the body were certain energy systems that are already installed by nature. You don't need a prescription for this. You need knowledge about it. And it was my patients who taught me. They said, Dr. Manek, if I do Tai Chi, I feel better. I went, oh, just a moment now. I sat on my seat a little bit taller and I said, tell me more. Are you going to laugh at me? One patient actually asked me, I said, why would I do that? Because when I look at your labs and I look at you, there's a mismatch. I see inflammation and you are thriving. Tell me what you do. And this young lady said, I meditate and I do Tai Chi. Even if I cannot, I get the mat out. So her intention was already showing a path forward. And he told me something. We better pay attention. Just because something is invisible, you cannot put a tape measure or measure it, or you cannot weigh it, you cannot taste it, you cannot measure its color, but it exists. That's the invisible realms. And medicine has a very hard time with it. We can't put our arms around it quite. We don't know how to define biofields and energy systems. But Tiller said something very important in a paper. And this was not part of my medical education. It was in a very unusual medical journal. So just imagine our educational systems put us in a very chemical pathway. And I was interested in energy systems of the body, the acupuncture system. And Tiller, a physicist, gives it meaning. He gave it meaning by using the word subtle energies. Wow, I went, oh, I knew inside.
I have goosebumps because I so believe in everything that you say. It totally resonates with me. And I just want to say something, that it took courage and integrity and bravery, right, to step into this new role that was not comfortable, was financially not rewarding at all. But you were led, but you were led by inner knowing that you are into something. And I just, what you just described, it's a perfect segue to some question that I wanted to ask you. Like, since we decided to have this interview, I was like, I want to know what Dr. Nisha is thinking about this. What is the difference between integrative medicine versus information medicine versus functional medicine? Because so many people right now are into functional medicine, but yet you're using completely different approaches and terms. So if you could just briefly give us the explanation of the differences.
Yeah, when I walked away from academic career, people thought I'd lost my marbles. But actually, when you are after the truth, you better be relentless about it. And I was relentless about it. So you're asking a very important question. Integrative versus information versus functional medicine, right? So
Yes.
in America, we used to call alternative ways, alternative, complementary and alternative medicine, CAM, complementary and alternative medicine. And we realized that really alternative isn't quite the right word, because you still want to pay attention to the body. You still want to use the medical sciences, and when necessary, the drugs. That's okay. And then you want to complement with techniques that really honor the energy systems, like Reiki or Tai Chi and all that, or massage. And there are many methods, right? And so the National Institute of Health of America, NIH, changed the term from complementary and alternative medicine to integrative. Integrative is much more, you might say, truthful, or in line with what I stand for,
Okay.
actually. You use the best of medical science and the best of integrative practices, such as
Mhm.
intention and consciousness, and bring them together for a better outcome. So we
Okay.
come to functional medicine. Functional medicine is really looking very detailed analysis of the biochemistry of the body, even beyond what traditional medicine will do. Traditional medicine will look at inflammation, sed rate, CRP. Then we look at electrolytes, but functional medicine looks at heavy metals. They'll look at analysis of hair and saliva, things that we do not do in conventional medicine. It does get you there. It'll get you a little further along. I would just say, though, about functional medicine, it is still firmly rooted in the body. We're talking about something much, much deeper, and that is information. So, what is that? What is that? So, when I left the academic medicine, I knew that we have to have a bigger way, a better way that honors the multidimensional human. Because let's just say, I'm going to give you a dollar bill. This is how much energy I wake up with. And I spend my energy in being with Millen, and I'm energized right now, or I spend my energy doing something else, looking at CNN, and I feel, ugh. Or I might do I'm spending my energy, and by the afternoon, I have nothing left. So, first of all, we can think of the body's vitality and your mental vitality like energy in the bank. Do you have $1? Have you made it two by the afternoon? You're not depleted. So I want to paint that picture. Are you compounding your dollar? Are you making it even more? And that's what I wanted to find out. How do we shift our frame of reference of just chemical to increasing your energy levels, the vitality? And this is a very fundamental shift in frame of reference, Millen, because I was asking, what are the laws of nature that we're working with? It's not just let's sort out the biochemical imbalances. I'm asking, what is the underpinning of the vitality of the body, which is energy? Energy moves nature. Millen, you're part of nature. I am part of nature. No one will disagree. No doctor disagrees with it. No physicist disagrees with it. No one disagrees. Nature isn't something out there. It's not sitting out there and you're in here through the window observing the rain pattering down on earth.
We're part of it. We're
We are
part of it.
nature. And so we have been disconnected from nature. Now we're not only disconnected from nature, we're disconnected from energy sources. Thirdly, we are disconnected to, we're putting our authority on outer things. We're disconnected from our own wishes and spontaneity. So we look at books. I have people often say, but Dr. Manek, tell me what to do, as though I'm some sort of authority in their life. I'm only as an authority as far as their arthritis is concerned. And you better believe it, I will give them the best that the science has to offer. We must build a bigger picture, and I open the door to that. And this is what Tiller gave to me. This was the biggest gift he gave to me, was to show that once you have an aim or a purpose or an intention, wow, your consciousness is chiseled. Now,
Nisha, I'm listening to you, and I was like, oh my God, I wish I heard about this physicist before, because not only I believe what you just described, but I also teach intention, the power of intention. It's so aligned. I was just teaching this from the creating wealth perspective, not creating health, but it's all so interconnected. And I want to ask you, because we spoke about frame of reference, it's very important, right? What do you use as a frame of reference? So in this case, I would like to hear your definition of consciousness and intention.
yes, very good question. Consciousness has been the biggest problem in science. It's a big problem. It's a big, huge cloud of chaos. Consciousness is the way I use it, is not that you're awake, that you're conscious and awake, because that's what medicine does. The other thing medicine tends to do about consciousness is that it locks you into the brain. The brain is not the source of consciousness. Okay, it's not coming out of the head. So we also point to the head all the time, like it's something locked in our between our ears. I want to say that's completely limited thinking. Pun is intended here. Okay, consciousness is not a thing. When people say, where is consciousness? The question itself is incorrect. It locks you into space and time, which is how science thinks. It thinks in space and time. Consciousness is not bounded by space. Consciousness is not time limited. Consciousness is a field. It's everywhereness. Everywhereness, no gaps. Consciousness is in my dollar bill. Consciousness is everywhere when I look around. So you have to honor everything in creation, including, this is a wisdom from one of my patients in Montana, honor all of life, including rock. Let's contemplate that. Honor all of life, consciousness, including rock, because everything is animated. We're just not sensitive enough. I told you, we're asleep at the wheel almost. So consciousness is not being awake. Consciousness is not your brain. Consciousness is a field, and it has like a huge, giant magnetic field. And you and I, Millen, are like little iron filings being attracted. We are part of consciousness. The iron filing doesn't fly off. It's attracted.
And what about intention? I could not agree with you more with your definition of consciousness, because different people have different definitions. What about your definition of intention?
Yeah, out of the field comes manifestations. And if you're part of consciousness, you make things happen by your thoughts. But here's the thing, our thoughts are always shifting. We change our mind too much. So what is intention? If you look at the dictionary definition, it's a singular purpose, a singular aim. That's it. You hold on to it. And when I found Dr. Tiller, and I said, I really want to understand what you found, because I don't understand your papers. Too many equations. The language is not familiar to me. I talk in B cells and T cells and inflammation all day. Tell me what you found, because that is priceless. That is wealth right there. Tell me how to decipher it. And so, where were we? Oh, intention. That's it. Millen, at first he refused. He said, no, you go back to academics. That's where you belong. You don't know physics. You don't belong in the world of physics. I was really crushed. And out of the blue, he called me a few months later. I'm picking up the phone. I don't know how he found my phone number, by the way, but that itself is a miracle. He called me and he said, I've been thinking about your proposal to come and study my physics. You don't need to replicate physics or my experiments in the lab because yes, and I'll describe his experiments in a moment. Here's what I need for you to do. First, I have no money to fund your scholarship. I said, I don't care. I want you to please help me understand
Mhm.
in just plain terms what you discovered so I can bring it to medicine because something is very valuable there. But he said the second thing that I realized this is the teacher and mentor I've been looking for. He said, you must meditate every day. Think about this, Millen. When you fill out your application for medical school, where does it say, do you meditate?
Must
When I
meditate.
filled out my application to be Stanford University, where did it say, are you a meditator?
Nisha,
When
it's so interesting what you're sharing. Let me tell you why. One of the requirements for people who work with me, who want to work with me, is they have to meditate every day. And some people refused. And I said, I'm sorry, this is so important that I don't think I can offer the value if you don't follow. It's like it's part of my protocol for creating wealth, because wealth is financial wealth is connected to your health, right? And it's all,
Absolutely.
like you said, it's a field that interconnected. So you cannot, expect something because you know how to invest money if your overall well-being is not at par on par with what is required to be successful with your
Absolutely.
money, right? It's all interconnected. And
What,
I
what,
just,
what,
I just, I just want to tell you, we're running a little bit out of time, and I feel like,
what?
there are so
We've
many
just
things.
begun. We've just begun, Millen.
I know. You know what? I think that I will, because people have a short attention span. So I feel like I will probably invite you, not probably, most likely invite you for another conversation that we will take the next step, and then maybe the next step. In the meantime, I would like to ask you, because there are so many, you open so many ideas and so many
Mhm.
very important prospects for people to apply, to use in their lives,
Yes.
health and wealth. So what would be one advice that you could share with our viewers that they could take away from this first interview, and we're going to have
Yes.
more,
I,
that
I
will
really,
help
yes.
them?
Millen, we need to talk again because we have just opened up the very beginning. I had so much more. The one thing I want your viewers to really take heart, and I like your advice, just as Dr. Tiller says, meditate. And it doesn't need to be complicated. There's so many books around meditation, apps that are just because we now are coming to the realization that we need to become familiar with the content of our mind and to then realize, become familiar, know thyself. Know thyself. Because all the riches are contained within you. You can have this and more. What are you waiting for? Close
And
your
I,
eyes
I,
and
I I
wait.
love this advice, and I also like to remind people that you are part of nature. And look, if you look at nature from the standpoint of abundance, nature is example of abundance. As a
Mhm,
part of nature, you are capable and meant to be abundant in so many ways. But
mhm.
the way we think, we limit ourselves in so many ways by our patterns of thinking, by our habits, by our beliefs that we developed from some, programming and experiences. So before we go, I know that you have very valuable resource, and I want to ask you to share with our audience what would you like to offer today, because I know that you're so brilliant, and that's why I said I usually don't invite my guests again and again, but I have a feeling that we're gonna have more than another interview with you. So what would you
Thank
like
you,
to
Millen.
share today?
Well, we talked about consciousness not being in the head. And that was a brilliant example one day when I went to a monastery in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it was the exhibition of the relics of Buddha. Buddha left behind these little objects, they're relics. I don't know what relics are. I had no idea. I was curious. See, I'm pointing to my head. But really, what happened was my heart was pulling me to this monastery. Wow. I am getting showers of goosebumps right now because I realize consciousness survives physical death. Here's is loving kindness in this object, surviving 2,600 years later. I wrote a paper about it. I wrote a paper that has an incredible picture. We're talking about sources of energy. Gaze on that picture. You may not even think, oh, this is too technical of a science paper. Don't worry. Look at the picture because the scientific reviewers who looked at the draft said, this, we recommend publishing it by virtue of this one picture because they felt something. You don't have to believe in any of what I've said. Look at the picture, and that paper is free. It is a peer-reviewed scientific around consciousness and human power, and it's available for every one of you to download.
Thank you so much. You have a link to the website where you can download this paper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to jump to download this paper right away. I also want to make sure that people can buy your book. Is it on Amazon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So on Amazon, and again, if you have any questions, I will post the link to this website to the where you can download the paper, to the book where you can download on Amazon. I will put it in the comments. Take advantage of this. This woman not only brilliant, she is courageous, and she is a pioneer in so many ways because we need more doctors, true medical doctors like that, not those who were brainwashed to do it the way that they were taught at school, the chemical way, right? Because like Nisha mentioned, we are multi-dimensional beings, and we need to be treated, or we need to be taken care of as multi-dimensional beings.
Yes.
And that's what is missing. And I think that's probably the only way to true health and true wealth. Nisha, thank you so much.